very warm over here at the moment, and I know it's pretty cold back home because I'm over in Germany. Like I said last month, I was going to be doing this month's vlog live from the banks of Mary and Joe Pool, the most famous carp lake in Germany. I've done quite a few different vlogs on this place over the years, so if you want to look back at those, I'll put 1 or 2 links at the end of the video. You know how it works, or if you want to scroll back, there's been quite a few uploaded. I've talked about the lake quite a bit in those, so I'm not going to go over old ground. But instead, what I'm going to do in this particular vlog is not focus on the technical side of carp fishing, where I'm talking about rigs, bait and things like that. This particular lake, that's not how you catch carp out of here. It's more to do with the watercraft side of things and the kind of thought process, you know, what's going on in the lake at the moment, am I fishing the right areas, where are the carp, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm going to be talking about during this vlog. So if you want a video about rigs, bait and how to do stuff, then head over to the Corda channel or one of those kind of platforms rather than mine, because there's a lot more to carp fishing than just the technical side of things. And hopefully, if you stay on this channel now and keep watching this video, you'll see the kind of thought processes that go through my mind when it comes to session fishing for big carp on a really difficult water like this. I've been out here already for a few days, and the reason it's taken me quite a while to start filming is because it always takes me a few days to settle into the fishing on this lake, because it is a very difficult water. It's very pressured. It's the most famous carp lake in Germany, so there's a good turnaround of anglers on here, and the biggest fish in here is probably one of the biggest fish in the area as well. So when there's a big fish in the water, there's always going to be a bit of pressure on there. So what's gone on in the first few days? Well, the first few days, not a great deal to report other than I've been here 4 days, and this is the 5th swim that I've been in since I've been here. And the reason for that is nothing short of just decision making. You know, you get to a water, you think you're going to sit there and plot up in a swim and stay there for a few days, and I had it kind of in the back of my mind that I was going to stay on First Point, which is probably my favourite swim on the lake. I've done quite well in there in the past, and it's always my first port of call if there's nobody in there, because it is a good area, it's a good passing area. But this year, when I got into the swim, I knew there was something different about it. There was not much weed about, and I just got that kind of negative feel about it, because this year the water is quite high compared to previous years, and you're seeing a completely different lake. When you put the drone up, or if you walk around and talk to the anglers on the lake, you're seeing the carp in all of the corners, whereas normally that doesn't tend to happen. And on previous trips, they've not been able to get into there. So, you know, it's a different lake, and in that First Point where that weed was in previous trips, it's always been nice to fish there, because you can always make sure that your line's quite discreet amongst the weed, it's hidden away, you can camouflage your spots, and you know, it makes for good fishing. But this year it's just barren, absolutely barren, and that's not to say that you won't catch in there, it's just that I got a little bit of a negative thought from it. And this year, if I'm honest, I've come here not just to catch fish. There is a big carp in here that I really would like to catch. It's called Mr. P, which is a massive fish for the area. And last year I caught the second biggest carp in here, which is the biggest common in the lake, known as black spot, and that one was 76 pounds last year. But Mr. P is slightly bigger than that. It has been over 80 pounds in the past, but this year they are thinking it could be a little bit bigger than that. So who knows what we've got, but it's definitely a big fish. And would I like to catch it? Of course I would. But without further ado, let's take a look at the swim I'm in now. You might recognise this swim from the first ever vlog that I did on this lake, which was about 4 or 5 years ago when I was down here with Christian Finkelder. And it's the one where the tree came down on his rods and he went on to catch a big fish. Really nice swim, lots of features in here. And what I'll do now is turn the camera around and show you what's what, and tell you where I've put my rods and why, because you're only allowed to use 2 rods on this lake. So selecting 2 spots out of the swim where you could probably put 10 rods, I'll tell you why I've chosen those spots now. So here is a look at the swim then, and it might not look like much, but it is really feature packed. There's absolutely loads of spots that I could put rods on. I can only use 2 though. So starting on the left hand side, just down here in the margins, you've got quite a thick weed bed. It drops down to probably 10, 11, 12 foot, and as you go around into the bay there, the weed continues. You've got a really sexy looking margin there where it drops down from the edge of the reeds to about 6 foot. Then you get towards that bush round there. Now that bush, it actually contains carp all year round. Every time I go around and have a look in that bush, you can always see carp in there. Most of them are not very big. There tends to be a group of fish in there that's 10 to 15 kilos. A few little ghost carp as well I've seen in there, but I have seen from time to time some absolute units in there, so they do get in there. Now going along the far margin, you've got the reeds there, really nice spots again, 5-6 foot just on the edge of the reeds. But as you come off the reeds, if I show you this drone footage now, you can see you've got loads of nice little clear areas that the carp are creating, and those are absolute carp magnets. They really are, especially when the sun's up and the fish visit them. And right in front of the swim, you've got depths down to 18, 19 foot. It does drop down quite deep in the middle there. You've got a lot of gravel out there, some really nice hard areas, and they're all cleaned as well. Going towards the right hand side, as you get towards the middle of the swim, you can see a gap in the reeds there. That's the beach area. It is actually a swim. People do fish in there. They just drop on the edge of the reeds. The beach itself, just in front, nice and clear along there. You can get a rod over to there if you need to. Moving to the right hand side, what I've got down there is a nice little margin that drops off. You've got another little beach area to the right there where it drops off, nice and clean, nice and sandy. Carp always seen in the summer months around that area. Out in front, again, you've got weed, you've got ups and downs, there's features all over. As I say, you could fill this swim with about 10 different rods, but the areas that I've selected, I've got my left hand rod just off the edge of the bush to the left there. The right hand rod, I've actually got that towards the beach just to the right hand side here, where I did see some carp only yesterday coming in really close. They weren't big fish, but they were carp. They're visiting that area, so that's where I've got that rod. Now both rods I've not got a great deal of bait over, because the 4 days that I've been here already, it's pretty clear that the fish aren't eating as much as they would do after spawning, because some of the carp, as I said earlier, have spawned, some of them definitely haven't, and pre-spawning on this lake, their tactic is to not use a great deal of bait. So I've not got a great deal over each rod. I've just got a handful of boilies, and I'm basically fishing very visual hook baits, critically balanced, just pretty simple carp tactics, and all I'm doing now is just sitting and waiting, hoping that something comes along. Slowly coming. Can't see it. Looks alright though. Yeah, it's not a monster. It's alright, that is. Decent fish. 40. Sure. Yeah, that bloody weed. Oh God. Oh, I don't want to come in. Raining now. That's a good chunk, that is. Definitely a 40. That weed. It's going in it again. Bye-bye, me. That's common. I think it is. That's a chunk. Oh, that is a chunk. There seems to be something about day 4s with this lake and me, because yes, I have caught on the first day and the second day as well, another trip, but day 4 consistently seems to be when I first catch carp from here, because I think it takes a few days to get to know the lake, get to see where the fish are. And this trip has been exactly like that, because it's been a tricky one. This is my second swim today, and my, is it 4th or 5th swim of the trip already, and I've got one 23 kilos, so a 50-pound common. Absolutely beautiful carp. I can't even get it in there. There we go. Take a look at that one. What a fish. What a fish. What a scrap as well. Proper. Nearly did me in a wee bed. Mega fish and a mega start as well. Still got 11 nights left, so hopefully a bigger one. When the dog's asleep, someone is making the most of their dinner bowl. This cheeky little chap. It's amazing what little things keep you entertained and occupied when you're on the bank for a couple of weeks. Little moor ends become your friends. The dog's desperate to, as they are dogs, desperate to destroy them both, but she's asleep at the minute, so I won't let her go anywhere near them. They won't come in that close when she's awake, I can tell you that now. So cute when they're that size. I actually had one of them in my hand a few years ago. Not on this lake, on a lake in England, a tiny one. It's only about 2 inches in size. It was absolutely minuscule, but obviously these are a bit older than that. There's the mom. Don't mind moor hens. They don't pick your baits up. But that lot over there, and coots, I'm not too sure if I'd hold the dog back. in she goes. What's that like? A bit better. Struggling with the old shadow at the moment. It's that time of the day when in this swim we've got a lot of early morning sun, so I hope that comes out okay. Looks all right on screen, but there you go. 32-pound mirror, and I was thinking about moving this morning, but I think now I've had this one I'm going to stay put. That's a cracker, and I'm fairly sure there's going to be a few more fish dotted about in here today because it's nice and warm. So, known as the beach, I don't need to explain too much about that. So I've just had a fish on this rod, and you can see that something has frayed my leader just there, just a little bit. I'll try and zoom in on a different camera to show you that, but the rest of the leader you can see there's no marks on it whatsoever. Now for me, that needs redoing. I mean, it's a 50-pound leader, shock tight leader from Avid, so it's probably still got about 40 pounds worth of strength still in it, but I don't care. That needs changing, because if I don't change it, you know full well that I'm going to lose a fish on it. It's probably a sharp object on the bottom, something like a bit of gravel, or maybe even a swan mussel or razor mussel, something like that, and it's just marked it. So if you hit a big fish, certainly one of the big ones in here, then I'd just be paranoid that my gear's going to give way. So that for me needs changing, and I'm absolutely paranoid about things like this when it comes to big fish. I know everybody tells you to find things down and get bites and stuff, but believe me, when you're trying to catch really big carp, you don't want your gear to fail at all. So that could fail, so it needs changing. So that's what I'm going to do now. Redone bit of leader. I've got rid of the frayed bit, and this gives me a good opportunity to talk you through the rig that I'm using today. I've got roughly 2 rod lengths of 50-pound shock tight. That's Avid shock tight leader on there, nice and strong. That's through to 18-pound camo outlines on the reel, and it's attached to one of Avid's lead clips. Oh, the dog's barking. What are you barking at? What are you barking at? Obviously not a dog on the far margin, but we've got 3.5 ounce lead on there. And then we've got roughly about 12 inches of hook link. Again, that's 50-pound shock tight, nice and strong. That's the emphasis when I'm fishing this place, because there's so many brutal snags and objects on the bottom. And then that's attached to a size 2 Armour Rock snag hook from Avid. And we've got an XL liner on there. And then you can see that my presentation today is just a standard snowman. That's made up of one of D&A's Secret 7 hard hookers, and it's topped by one of the PB pop-ups. Now this particular presentation, I've caught loads of carp on at this time of the year. Nice and visual, nice and bright. And I said earlier on about the big fish in this lake at the moment. People say they're not spawned, and when they've not spawned, it can be quite tricky fishing for them. So I'm not putting a great deal of bait out, just a dozen or so, 3 offerings around each hook bait. And then we've got the nice bright one, which hopefully is the first one to go. And I've caught loads of big carp on this presentation at this time of the year. So let's hope it's going to carry on doing the business for me. It can get a little bit hard sometimes on these longer sessions, especially on a lake like this when, you know, luckily things have been happening for me. I've had 4 fish now, and I've done 8 or 9 nights, I can't remember exactly. So it's been pretty active. I have been on this water before now when it's been very, very slow, and there are times when things start to eat away at you. Am I in the right swim? Am I using the right bait? Am I on the right rigs? You know, even for someone like me that uses the same rig and I'm super confident in my rig, it does eat away at you when you get on waters like this, when not a great deal's happening, but somebody's on the fish and they're catching, and they're beaming, they're talking about the rigs, they're talking about the bait. Oh, so-and-so's catching on this bait, and it sometimes can make you spiral out of control a little bit if you're not careful. So you've got to be pretty strong-minded, and you know, and stick with your guns. And you know, I think more often than not, it's about watercraft, and it's about being on the fish, being in the area on a pressured lake where the fish are picking up baits, and being in the right spots in that swim, because it can get very spotty on really pressured waters. And I found that in this swim, and you know, luckily I found a couple of spots where they are picking bait up from, and that's resulted in 4 nice fish. But you know, when you've caught a couple of fish from an area, it does get a little bit tricky to keep catching them consistently on it. That's one of the things I have found. You do need to keep a bit mobile, and if I have not got the dog with me today, I'd probably be moving to him a bit more, being a bit more active with my fishing. But you know, the other thing is I've got this goal in my mind of trying to catch this big fish that's in here, Mr. P, and I know he gets caught from this area, so I am sticking with this area at the moment. Don't know whether I'm going to stay in this swim. I've got to go to the shops tomorrow. I've got to update my food because things are starting to go off. Carrots going a bit black, potatoes going a bit furry. Even when you've got the best food bags and you're looking after your food, in these conditions, when it's very warm, you do need to freshen up your supplies every now and again. So I'm going to go to the shops tomorrow, and I've got to get some water, I've got to get some fresh produce. Might even have a bit of a clean up as well, because I've been doing me running beyond the swim, not every day but every other day, and although I'm having a little wash, it's only with lake water and I've not had a proper wash yet. So I might go down the local sports centre or gym if I can find one, and get myself cleaned up a little bit. I probably won't, but I might do, depending on how I'm feeling, because it is getting a bit warm in a minute, and the next few days are going to get warmer. So when it gets really hot, even the heat can start to drain you a little bit, especially on the water like this where the swims haven't got a great deal of cover. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, lots to play for still got a few days left, and there's every chance something big could come along if I'm lucky. A nice way to start the morning. £28 common. You can probably tell from the shape of it that it's a really hard fighting fish. Got a really good scrap, and it's the first bite I've had on my right hand rod off the Helsing Plateau, so nice. I've had a couple of fish off that bush, but I've just decided to reel that rod in now because there's a family of coots that are just diving down on it constantly. And I hear what some guys say about coots, they don't spook the carp, but for me, I don't like coots constantly diving in an area. I don't think they attract the carp at all, and I've actually seen them on quite a few different venues. I've got some good memories of fishing on Orchid and the coots diving down and spooking the carp. So I've reeled that rod in. I have put some bigger baits out there just to keep baiting it, because I know the carp will definitely keep visiting that area, but I'm fairly sure there's still an opportunity for me to catch a few carp out here in the middle. So I've just put my left hand rod, which was on that bush, out towards the beach area over there, which I do know does do some big fish, especially when it starts to get warm. And at the moment it's not very warm. I know it's cold in England at the minute, I think it's about 9 degrees, but later on in the week, the next couple of 3 days, it's going to start getting very warm, 25, 27s, 28s. I think it tops out about 29 degrees. So there's every chance that the big one in here, Mr. P, will come down to this area. It was spotted down here a few days ago when it was warm, and it does get caught down here as well. It's had a track record of getting caught in this area. It doesn't just come from this area, it comes all around the lake. But what I've done is put my left hand rod over there, good depth, just as it drops off the beach area, it drops into some sort of harder area, the second step as the anglers call it, and that's where my left hand rod is. So yeah, just trying to give you a bit of an insight into my thoughts, because it's very easy to sit on a lake and when you've had a bite off somewhere, just to keep leaving that rod on that area. But sometimes you also have to make that decision of now the time is right for it to be moved, and you can still see the coots diving over there now. It's an awful time of the year for coots because they've got their babies and they're teaching them how to feed when they come across bait. Once they find it, there's no stopping them, you know what they're like. So there you go, a bit of an insight. Just trying to talk you through what goes through my mind when I'm on the bank fishing a lake like this. Not just fishing one or two spots, roving the rods around, trying different areas. And I've tried now in this swim probably half a dozen areas already, but the two areas where I've been getting bites from were the bush, where I've had two fish from, and then this right hand rod, which is just on the edge of the beach down here to the right. So there's every chance there's one or two of the carp out there as well. And I've got to go to the shops tomorrow, and it's a weekend, and you can guarantee this area is going to get busy. So in the back of my mind, I'm contemplating whether to move swim tomorrow, just to try somewhere different during the weekend and bait this area, and then come back into it later on in the week when it really does get warm. So don't know what I'm going to do yet. See what happens tonight, and if I catch another carp tonight, I'm staying put for sure. How about this for a sexy tucked away swim? Just got to duck down here because of all the brambles that keep sticking to my bald head. Watch the steps as well. There's the rods. Looks absolutely awesome. All tucked away. Loads of shady cover, and there is the bivvy setup. Bit of a mess, a bit wonky because it's on a bit of a slant, and it's very, very cramped as well with these trees and all of that embankment around the side there, but very mosquito infested as well. Now this swim is called Horplats. Don't think it needs any explanation, but yes, it definitely involved a bit of sexual intercourse apparently by the original club members many years ago, or some of the members of the public. I don't really know exactly what it is, but that is lovely. And in this heat, these trees above me are definitely going to give me a bit of cover. And let's hope there's a few carp about as well, because that's what I'm here for. Look worn out. I know what the missus would say now if she saw me, but it doesn't surprise me, because although I like that last swim, that little secret swim, the Horplats as it's called, I've moved swim again. So that's the 8th different swim. So I've put a lot of effort into this session because that's my phone pinging. A lot of effort into this session because I've had so much gear with me. You know, I've got the dog with me, I've got all the food with me, I've got all the water, everything like that, and I've not wanted to keep it in the car, so I've been lugging it out the car into the different swims, and there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of work being put into getting from place to place. And you know, for the long sessions, that's what you need to do. I'm not one of these people who likes to go to the shop every day like some carp anglers do. I don't like leaving the lake, I like staying here. So I've got my food, I've got my bait, I've got everything, and I'm not going to leave it in the car because it will go off, especially in the warm temperatures. But what we've got now is a little bit of cloud actually. We've got a change in the weather conditions, and it does feel pretty good for a bite, because today I've seen quite a lot of carp show. During the 10 days that I've been here, you could probably count on one hand how many carp I've seen shown, which is a little bit unusual for this lake, because they do tend to hang out over the deep water out in the middle of the old lake where we are now, and they've not been coming into the margins and having a feed over the last few days. It's been very, very quiet. The action on the rods has been really quiet. I seem to have put an awful lot of effort into fishing for nothing really this last week, and you know, I do feel as though another move, even though that whole platform, it felt good in there, definitely a good chance of a bite. I've seen quite a few fish off this high bank where we are now, and although this swim's a little bit dicey to fish because it's very steep embankment, it's only a really small enclosed swim, so it's tight to get the bivvy in. Really uncomfortable, especially when you've got a dog who is in and out of the bivvy all the time, and I've got to keep her tied up because there's a public footpath behind me and I don't want to start causing aggro there. So, you know, I've risked it in this swim because the weather is about to change as well. We're going to get a bit of rain, and when you get a bit of rain in a swim like this, it's going to be slippy going down to the rods, slippy coming up to the bivvy as well, so got to take an extra bit of care. But the good thing is about this swim, I have fished it before, most of the bites tend to be in the day, so it's not too bad. At night, you don't, I'm not saying you don't get night bites, but you don't tend to get many night bites out of here. So let's see what happens, because we now got 4 days left of the trip. I'm still hoping that we can pull it out of the bag. I'm getting a little bit wanting to go home a bit now, if you know what I mean, because I've been away from home now for 10 days and I could do with a bit of a clean up, but I don't want to go home and not come back. I want to go home for half an hour and come back, see the missus, have a shower and things like that. So I'm still very much into my fishing. I'm still very keen on following this through to the end and getting a result out of it, because this water, it's a proper head banger when it wants to be. It really is. I know people might say, oh, it's foreign fishing, it's going to be a lot easier. No, this is not a commercial lake. This is a completely different lake. It's a very hard fish lake, very tough fishing, where every carp that you catch out of here is well earned. It's not somewhere you just rock up to and start banging them out one after another. And believe me, if you do start catching a few, your next few days it's going to beat you up, and that's what it's done over the last few days to me. Really, it's probably beaten me up. It can always be a bit funny during camp, because it depends whether the fish are spawned or not, and at the moment I don't think these originals in here have spawned. I think a lot of the smaller carp have spawned, but the originals, they're still going to be a big weight. So you know, as I say, 4 nights left. Going to get tucked into some food now. I'm all settled in, and put the Euros on, because it's England's first match in the Euros tonight, so good luck to them guys. And I'm going to be sitting here watching that, feeling pretty confident, because there's definitely a few carp out in this area, and it is a good area as well, so fingers crossed. God, I'm getting bitten alive. Bloody things. God. I don't know if you can see this, or that tree's in the way, not sure. What's going now, this is. Oh. There's a lot of weed out there though. Hopefully the lead's been dumped. Mozzies, sorry to swear. Lovely sunset over the back there. God, these mozzies are a bloody pain. That ain't a bad fish. It's not small. No, that ain't small. Yes, I think I've got it. In she goes. Stuck in the tree as well. I've got the fish. Line's stuck though. Oh, there we go. All sorted. Oh, that's mega. That's mega, that is. Be a decent fish, that. Definitely a decent one. Not small. "29 kilos, so about 64 pounds. Okay, yes. Oh. What an amazing carp. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Right in the middle of the England football game. Yes. Awesome carp. Thanks ever so much for the help, guys. Right, we'll do some pictures. Nice. Oh, cheers, guys. Oh, man. I think Kev caught it a few weeks ago as well, didn't he?
Yes, maybe.
Wow.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Mega carp. Right, I've got to put it down. Oh. Right. I definitely could have done with a much shorter rod whilst landing that fish, and some good news is that avid carp this year decided to enter the retractable rod market in a new range of rods that's known as React. There's 2 different rods in the range, both of which are 10 foot, 2-piece and built on 1K carbon blanks. The first rod is a 3-pound version, which is very much suited to all-round carping situations. It's very parabolic, whereas the second version is slightly stepped up. It's 3.5 pounds and very much suited to those times when you need a little bit of extra power. They both feature stylish modern-day graphics and fittings, including American Tackle TI forged air guides, ranging from a 50mm butt ring down to a 16mm ceramic anti-frap tip ring. Both been put through the paces by the Avid Carp team, so you can be sure that you're buying with confidence, and they're available in all Avid stockists now. If you'd like more details, then check them out at avidcarp.com.
No sleep at all. Feel absolutely awful.
Chucking it down at the minute, out there. Couple of fish last night. So got one of them in the sling down there, and Dan is coming around to photograph them in about 20 minutes. But honestly, I've never known so many mosquitoes last night. It was just so many of them. Literally hundreds of them. I've probably got lumps and bumps all over the place. I could just knock some off. Yeah, but one of the fish I had, a fish known as Papagayo, absolutely magnificent fish. Really was a beautiful carp. I had it just before dark. So So I've got a light shining in my face in a minute. Yeah, but mega conditions, absolutely mega fishing conditions at the minute. I've just waited the last sort of 5 or 6 days where it's been really hard going. I've not had a bite now for about, well, it must be maybe about 7 days actually. 6 days, 5 days, not sure. Anyway, my brew's about to boil. But yesterday the fish was just going absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. They were boshing all over the place. I've never seen so many fish bosh in a short period of time on this lake. It went from being no action at all, no activity at all, just a dead lake, to overcast conditions, and you know, just perfect for this water. And then 2 really good bites last night, 29 kilo and 25.5 kilo, so 63 pounds or thereabouts, and a 56, 57, 56, not sure, 56 I think it is. So not bad, not bad. Still got 3 nights left, so it's coming good after starting off pretty, not slow, but pretty difficult, pretty sort of up and downish. But let me get my brewing away. I need to wake up before Dan comes round. Oh, look at that. Check that out for a fish. Oh, I can hardly hold it, it's massive. Its head and its shoulders are absolutely huge. But that is a mega fish. 56 pounds. Awesome. What a session. We've got rain, at last. We've got good conditions, and I might not have caught the biggest carp that I've been after, Mr. P, on this trip, but I've definitely got it right, because some good news is that one of the lads, Stephen, good guy, you'll know, he was here on the lake when I caught black spot last year, really nice lad, regular angler on the lake. Well, this morning he's just gone and caught Mr. P, and good conditions brings big fish, it always does. Stephen's a DNA baits user, and it really is nice seeing him rewarded for his efforts, because last year he fished really hard for this fish. This year he's done the same, he's caught some absolute crackers, and last year he was on the bank when I caught black spot and shared the moment with me, so it's going to be really nice going round and sharing the moment with him. So what a great way to end. Let's go and have a look at this absolutely fantastic fish and share the moment with a really good guy. And if there's one thing to take from this video, it's don't ever give up, because if you've got that type of fish in mind, it's very easy. That's one of the guys ringing now, so I'll see you around there in a moment with Mr. P on the bank. I'll share the moment with Steve. Well done, mate.
Schwanzfloss hängt im Wasser?
Ja, das ist okay, ist okay.
Aber hinter das Karpfen, das Karpfen weg.
Hey! Very earned.
Yes, very earned.
Schrei noch ran dazu.
Prost!
Awesome, mate.